How to detect a break in the cold chain. As previously mentioned, a break in the cold chain may occur when we pick up a product from warehouse, during transport, or even delivery to a warehouse or client. But how do we detect it? Detecting a cold chain break is crucial for ensuring food safety and the quality of temperature-sensitive products. Below are several indicators that typically reveal where and how the interruption might have occurred, and how it might be corrected if necessary. When it comes to frozen products, the presence of frost or ice crystals is a strong warning sign. These items are often packed in cardboard boxes or plastic bags, and if you see visible frost or notice that the contents are clumped together or appear to be thawing and dripping, this could indicate a break in the chain or refreezing. If you see large ice crystals or ice formations, this is also a clear sign of a previous thaw and refreeze. Other important indicators include color change. Food might darken or show spots, depending on the product. Texture change. Food may become watery or mushy, and in some areas too soft, while other parts remain hard. For example, with mangoes, some parts may turn hard and others soft. This suggests poor handling or a broken cold chain. Unusual odors or tastes. Our sense of smell often alerts us. If you open a package of fish or seafood and it has a strong ammonia-like smell, that's a clear sign of spoilage caused by improper freezing or refrigeration. Presence of mold. When food is repeatedly frozen and thawed, water is released from broken cells and existing ice crystals. This moisture can lead to mold growth, which is dangerous to human health, as mold can release toxic substances if consumed. Damaged packing. Signs such as stains, moisture, swelling, or visible contamination suggest that the product has been compromised. This is especially concerning if the contaminated product was transported alongside other items, as cross-contamination might occur. Environmental factors should also be monitored. Improper ambient temperatures can indicate potential issues. This is why temperature sensors, thermometers, and alarm systems are so important. If they indicate that the temperature is too high, whether due to weather condition, equipment failure, or user error, they must be addressed immediately. This is especially important before transport, but even short trips can be risky if traffic delays occur. A short route can become hours long under the wrong conditions. Always check for equipment malfunctions. Ensure doors seal correctly, and monitor for any temperature fluctuation. These steps are essential to maintaining the integrity of the cold chain. I was talking about the importance of sensors, thermometers, and alarms, because if they alert us that the temperature is dropping, whether due to weather conditions, equipment malfunctions, or human error, then they're doing their job. It's essential to inspect for equipment malfunctions before departing, especially for long transport routes, but even short routes can be problematic. For example, traffic might delay a short trip by 1 or 2 hours. We must constantly check for issues and report any failures to our supervisors. Always verify that doors close properly and that nothing is compromising the cold chain. If you notice temperature fluctuations, whether during refrigeration or freezing, it must be reported, as this can have serious consequences. As I mentioned earlier, ice crystals can form, ranging from tiny particles to larger chunks or even solid blocks of ice in frozen goods. In refrigerated items, frequent temperature swings can cause humidity problems, stains, mold, or the growth of bacteria. This is why it's critical to consistently check and control temperatures. Now, what will happen if there is a power outage? Do you have a procedure for that? Power interruptions can cause internal temperatures in refrigeration equipment to rise, compromising product quality. There are some specialized devices available that can provide temporary power in such cases. Especially in transportation, where refrigeration relies on batteries, it's essential that these systems are fully charged and that you have a backup plan if they fail. Other signs of a cold chain break include clump products. For example, in frozen goods, if items like strawberries are properly processed, they stay separate. You can scoop them out in pieces, but if the cold chain is broken, they may become a solid block, a clear indicator of a problem. These soft or gelatinous sections are unpleasant and a potential health risk. You might expect a product to have a crisp texture or a certain flavor, but it ends up with soft spots that feel slimy or rubbery, and that signals moisture issues and loss of quality due to a break in the cold chain. This is why logistics and control system must always be monitored carefully, especially in the transportation role. Not only should we be vigilant ourselves, but we also need to ensure the same from other parties involved. Think about your responsibility. You are picking up the product from the customer and delivering it to a distributor or a storage facility. If you fail to detect signs of cold chain failure, it could compromise the entire process. You need to recognize these indicators and, if needed, stop the process and inform your supervisors. In some companies, it's even allowed to take photos for documentation. If you see frost, leaking packing, unusual odors, or visible molds, it's your job to document and report immediately. This helps ensure the transportation phase doesn't get blamed for a problem that may have started before the product even left the warehouse. You need to develop the ability to observe, analyze, and act. Whether it's taking photos, writing notes, or making a call, what matters is to communicate clearly. I have been given a product with frost. The packing is leaking, there is an unusual smell, or I suspect mold. Perhaps, if we don't realize it in time, we might deliver a product only to be told at the warehouse that it won't be accepted because it was damaged. This puts us in a difficult position, caught in the middle of the issue. That's why it's so important to implement controls and ensure you are trained to detect problems, keep accurate records, and maintain constant communication. What to do if I suspect a cold chain break? As mentioned, the transportation rule is critical. It's one of the most crucial links in the cold chain. Your job is not only to monitor how the product is received and stored during transit, but also how it is delivered. If you notice something unusual before unloading, you should document it to prove that the product was delivered in proper condition. Sometimes you are simply told, just leave it there. But it's essential to have evidence that you support your responsibility. Temperature logs, photos, or delivery notes. So you protect if the receiving conditions are not ideal. If a product shows signs of spoilage or quality loss, it should not be consumed and must be discarded. If the break occurred during transportation and liquids have leaked, and there are other products present, it's critical to perform deep cleaning to avoid cross-contamination. You must inspect the equipment to determine why the cold chain broke and repair it as needed. Prevention is the best strategy to avoid future breaks. This includes performing periodic inspections, maintaining temperature records, following best practice for storage and handling. To maintain the cold chain, optimal conditions are essential to ensure quality and safety for both food and medicine. Key preventive actions. Constant temperature monitoring using digital thermometers and data loggers. Verify products and equipment temperatures during pickup from clients, transit, delivery. Ask yourself, who is responsible for monitoring? What needs to be done? How, why, and when should it be done? How will the information be recorded? This structured approach ensures that any deviation is documented, helping to prevent recurrence. Alarm system and AI support. Thanks to advancing artificial intelligence, many systems now support configurable alarms that alert you when temperatures go out of range, giving you a chance to take immediate action. Calibration. All equipment must be calibrated regularly, as required by regulatory standards. During a health inspection or audit, authorities might request records, plans, and schedules for calibration and maintenance. Maintenance should always be preventive, not reactive. Unfortunately, many companies only act after a problem occurs, but ongoing maintenance is key. Equipment and capacity management. You must also ensure refrigeration equipment, including freezers and refrigerated trucks, is working properly. Verify that equipment capacity matches the volume of products being transported. If a client adds extra cargo, you must evaluate whether the system can handle it. Overloading can interfere with airflow, causing temperature inconsistencies, which may lead to product damage. Therefore, we must always keep this in mind and negotiate with the client that although they may want to transport more, we cannot exceed the program stacking capacity of loading plants. Insulation. Check that the insulation of the equipment is in good condition to prevent cold loss. Insulation refers, for example, to rubber-like seals found around refrigerator doors. When functioning correctly, this can make it a bit difficult to open a door, especially when the interior is cold or frozen. If they are loose, doesn't close properly, they must be repaired or replaced to ensure proper sealing. Use thermal packing to maintain the product's temperature during transportation. All packing should be airtight to avoid contamination and moisture loss. As discussed earlier, make sure the vehicles is appropriate. Use refrigerated vehicles with efficient cooling systems. Plan optimize routes and ensure proper load distribution so that not area is overpacked or left uncooled. Cold storage warehouses. In this image, we are seeing a refrigerator or frozen storage facility. These are specialized chambers that not just anyone can access. The personnel must be familiar with the layout and understand how to arrange the products properly. They must follow the FIFO system, first in, first out. For example, if you receive a batch today and another in 3 days, the older batch must be distributed first. This prevents products from being forgotten or left to expire. FIFO ensures proper stock rotation by prioritizing the earliest produced batches. In transport storage, even during transportation, we essentially perform temporary storage, so we must apply similar organization principles. Products should be arranged so the coldest items are at the back, and those that will be consumed first are placed at the front. If a company gives you products from different production batches, you need to determine the order in which they shall be delivered, based on their production dates. This is where logistics planning comes into play, ensuring the proper FIFO system is applied. Many companies will mention they are using the FIFO system, which means all their inventory is used or shipped before newer stock. This guarantees product freshness and prevents waste or spoilage. Training and knowledge sharing. All of this knowledge ensures that staff understand proper procedures and can handle the cold chain with care. You can also create teams within your organization to help document and share this knowledge, by creating procedures manuals or operation manuals as many companies do. Hygiene. Don't forget the importance of hygiene practice among all staff. Also, as mentioned in regulatory standards, it's essential to keep detailed records for verifications and audits. This includes accurate records of temperature readings, inspections, and any relevant operational notes. Let's look at what is affected. As we have already mentioned, when cold chain failures occur, products are discarded, whether at the point of delivery or by the consumer. This results in a complete loss, and the product must be eliminated. Reduce shelf life. For example, let's say I transport fresh milk labeled to last 5 days. A customer buys it and stores it properly, but by day 3, the container is bloated and the flavor is off. Clearly something went wrong during refrigeration, and the product's shelf life was cut short. Customer complaints. Sometimes customers return the product, other times they throw it away, angry that their money was wasted. This leads to complaints. And as consumers, we know how frustrating this is. Negative experience can damage a brand's reputation, and many of us will avoid buying from that brand again. Nutrition loss. A break in the cold chain doesn't just alter taste, texture, and smell. It also causes nutrient degradation. Even if we can see them, bacteria and fungi might already be present, some of which produce toxins that can lead to serious illness. In some cases, such contamination has even been linked to cancer. For example, it is now known that black mold on tomatoes, even when only part of the tomato appears affected, has already spread internally, and its toxins can be extremely harmful. Food waste. Globally, food waste caused by cold chain failures is a significant issue. It has widespread economic and environmental impacts, and our ability to manage this process will directly affects the final consumer who relies on product quality. Energy consumption. Maintaining cold chain systems requires a lot of energy, which impacts the environment. That's why it's important to ensure equipment is operating efficiently and all practices are aligned with environmental sustainability. Foodborne illness. We often see products recalls due to contamination. Recently, melons from the US were pulled from the market due to bacterial issues. Even when the problem didn't originate in transportation, traceability is critical, and that's where detailed controls and records come in. They provide the proof needed to demonstrate that your part of the process was handled correctly. Antimicrobial resistance. To treat foodborne infections can lead to antibiotic-resistant bacteria. If a contaminated product makes some sick and they require antibiotics, but the medication doesn't work due to resistance, the consequence can be serious. This is why, when in doubt, it's better to discard questionable products that risk greater health costs. Other impacts. Public health. News spreads quickly online. A single incident can damage consumer trust and reduce competitiveness. Brand confidence. A damaged cold chain can lead to consumer distrust, harming brand reputation. In summary, the consequences of weak cold chain are numerous. It is essential to invest in proper refrigeration equipment, provide comprehensive staff training, establish strict protocols to ensure the safety and quality of products. Sometimes, protocols are seen as overly strict, especially regarding hygiene or mandatory training, but it's important to understand. These measures are vital. We continue to observe temperature logs, storage conditions, cleanliness, and whether doors remain properly sealed. The cold chain for food and medicine remains a critical system. What is the cold chain? The cold chain is a temperature control system that ensures perishable products, such as food and medicines, are kept within a specific temperature range from the time they are produced until consumption or use. This process is essential for preserving the quality, safety, and efficacy of both food and pharmaceutical products. Why is the cold chain important? We have discussed that food safety is a concern not just in our own country, but globally. In the context of exportation, other countries are also seeking food safety assurance. We may be involved in the process of shipping food abroad, and one of the main concerns is preventing microbial proliferation, especially when refrigerated, frozen, or perishable foods cross borders. Quality control. Believe me, quality inspections are extremely thorough. Products are often selected for sensory analysis, taste, texture, appearance, packing, and in many cases they are also sent to laboratories to evaluate nutritional properties. Shelf life extension. If a product already shows signs of damage or microbial activity, it will be rejected. Importers want to ensure that goods will last under the state storage conditions. For example, I've seen yogurt or milk containers swell because bacteria produce gas as they multiply. This is an obvious sign the cold chain was broken. Regulatory compliance. Maintaining a proper cold chain is a legal requirement in many countries, including ours, and is a critical part of protecting consumer health and safety. How does the cold chain work? The cold chain involves a series of steps and controls to keep products at constant temperature from production to consumption. We must become aware of the responsibility that begins with the producers, who invest significantly in maintaining hygiene and controlled temperatures during production and packing. Often producers coordinate with farmers to select only the best, ripest crops. In freezing process, this is critical. Unlike other preservation methods like drying or canning, which may alter flavor and appearance with sugar, salt, colorants, or flavorings. Freezing preserves the product in its natural state, but if it already contains bacteria, freezing will only halt bacteria growth. It won't eliminate it. Any existing microbial load resumes activity. This is why careful selection of what goes into freezing or refrigeration is essential. There have been instances where poor cold chain practice led to strong odors in frozen fish delivered to homes, causing consumer rejection and even the closure of business due to loss of reputation. That's why the people involved in freezing and refrigeration process must select only the best, most mature and visually appealing items. Transportation awareness. As transport personnel, we must be aware of the upstream effort, all the investment, labor, and care put into the product before it reaches. We must respect and uphold that work to ensure the product arrives to the consumer intact. Storage. After transport, the products are stored in refrigerators, freezers, cold chambers, set specific temperatures depending on the product's requirements. As mentioned earlier, frozen products may require -18 Celsius degree, -20 Celsius degree, or even -10 Celsius degree, depending on client instructions. Refrigerated goods may require 4 Celsius degree, or sometimes 0, 1, or 2 Celsius degree. This is why a general temperature range cannot be applied to all cases. It must be tailored to the product or medicine in question, especially vaccines, which have very strict temperature requirements. Transportation is one of the most important roles in the entire cold chain. It involves using refrigerated vehicles, such as trucks and containers, to transport products to distribution points. As mentioned before, proper logistics are essential to ensure products arrive in good condition. Distribution. Products are distributed to wholesalers, retailers, and finally to the end consumer, all while maintaining the cold chain. In the case of transportation, especially with large trailers, you may need more than one person. This is where the first in, first out system comes into play. If you need to deliver to a retail first, that products must be placed at the front of the truck. If it's a last stop, then it goes at the back. Proper loading logistics are crucial. Let me tell you, you should feel proud and fulfilled. This image captures it well. In every family, we are all consumers, and if you look at any supermarket, you'll find refrigerated and frozen sections. Your role in ensuring that food reaches home in safe, high-quality condition is essential and should bring a great sense of purpose and pride. What products require a cold chain? Food, meat, poultry, fish, seafood, dairy products, fresh fruits and vegetables, frozen goods, medicines, vaccines, insulin, and some biological drugs, all requiring specific temperatures conditions. Equipment used in the cold chain and its functions. Cold rooms, large refrigerated space, used to store high volumes of products at controlled temperatures. These can be refrigerated or frozen chambers depending on what's needed. During transport, you may have to enter these chambers to pick up products, or staff may bring them to you. It's essential to understand your client's needs and how to best meet them. Freezers, small units designed to store products at very low temperatures, though there are also large freezer chambers. Proper protective equipment is necessary when entering these spaces due to extreme cold. Refrigerators, used to store products at temperature close to 0 Celsius degree, typically ranging between 5 and 0 Celsius degree. Refrigerated trucks. These are widely used for transporting perishable goods over long distance, ensuring constant temperature maintenance. They are increasingly used for food and pharmaceutical transport. Containers, when products are exported by land or sea. Specific refrigerated containers are required. These are tailored to client specifications for frozen or refrigerated shipments. Isothermal boxes. Insulated containers that maintain product temperatures for a limited time, ideal for short distance transport or during handling. Ice packs or hell packs, used to maintain temperatures within isothermal boxes or when transporting small quantities. This must be food grade and for pharmaceutical use, medically approved, and contamination could result in product rejection. Thermometers, tools used to measure product and ambient temperatures, ensuring they remain within established range. Some thermometers include sensors, and it's important to stay informed about upgrades and best practice. Data loggers, devices that continuously record temperatures, allowing for report generation and the detection of temperature deviations. You should store records for 2 to 5 years. Alarm system. This system alerts you to temperature fluctuations. It's crucial to know how they work, set the correct parameters, and make sure they stay within the defined limits. If your system is set to a maximum of 3 Celsius degree and the alarm doesn't trigger, it must be checked and tested beforehand. In summary, the equipment used in the cold chain plays a critical role in preserving the quality and the safety of food and medicines for consumers. Proper handling, monitoring, and maintenance ensure that its products remain safe and effective from the point of production to their final destination.